Ryan, I know it's not your game, but Sunday night we're all going to be watching the Steelers and the Dolphins. On a scale of 1 to 10, Brian Flores and Tua Tagovailoa together on the same field in the same house. We're Miami, and we all know what's going on there. What's the awkward meter, 1 to 10? Ryan, what do you got for me on that
well,
one?
I think they will avoid any interaction. I don't think you'll get your handshake or your bro hug before or after the game. I think it's an important game for Tua. Yes, he's because Brian Flores is on the other side, and I'm sure Brian's gonna say this is what we need to do to this kid, this, and this. But for Tua, and again, what we saw Sunday versus the Bills, and then that Thursday night game following, with the concussions and the fencing posture and all that, for him to come back, hopefully, being completely healthy and being able to get through the season without any more concussions. I think everybody's going to be dialed in and is rooting for him just to be able to stay healthy for the rest of the year.
Well, I mean, I know this sounds like a tea-spilling question, but whatever you're willing to share, what was happening back then when Tua was drafted? You're there, you're playing, he's in, Flores was making a decision. It seemed like that was a tip and there was an iceberg underneath. Is that a fair assessment to say, Ryan?
Yeah, I mean, even as quarterback and on the front lines and in some of those meeting rooms, you still never really know what exactly was going on behind the scenes. But, I've been in that situation quite a bit where they drafted Tua high. Obviously, it was going to be my team until they felt like he was ready. And that was the COVID year. Our bye got moved, I think, up from maybe week 11 to week 6. And so, the natural, whether it's after a Thursday night game where you get the 10, 11 days, or it's after, a bye where you can put a young kid in and start planning and get a cheat and get a few extra days, that's probably when it was going to happen all along. It was just tough because there was some stuff Tua wasn't ready for. He wasn't prepared to go out and do. But that being said, his progression as a quarterback, I think some of it you could point to that year and putting him in. The problem is we went 10-6, and there were some guys on that team that felt like, maybe I gave a better chance to win, but long term for the Dolphins, that was the better move for them to do.
Sure, but he and I guess Flores were not copacetic, or were you just sort of in between that whole thing? I mean, what was going on?
And some of that got worse after I left.
Right.
There was an influx of offensive coordinators, and they continued to change play callers, and nobody was ever really good enough for the head coach. But Tua, I think, did a good job through all of that, of battling through, working hard, putting his head down. And I think this year he's been able to see the other side of it a little bit with a coach in Mike McDaniel that completely 100% believes in him as a player, loves him as a person. And you've seen the results early for Tua, and how that mental part, just giving him some confidence, has really translated on the field.